Hey everyone! Today, I'll be showing you guys the best Tier 2 torpedoes in modern warships. Due to the latest update, all Tier 2 torpedoes now have their exact and functional strength because the update brought some improvement to the two Tier 2 torpedoes that nobody wanted to use it for their ship in the previous versions of the game. That's why I created this video, because we can now finally properly compare all of the torpedoes with their exact strength, and identify the best torpedo among them. In knowing the best Tier 2 torpedo, I'll be showing the stats of each Tier 2 torpedoes in the game, and I'll explain and show how their main aspects makes them great and worse. Please watch until the end of the video, as I'll also give some tips on how to use these torpedoes. So without further ado, let's begin. Tier 2 torpedoes are now divided into two categories, and this is the long-range torpedo and the short-range torpedo. In the long-range torpedo, these are the torpedoes in the category. I'll start with the Russian torpedo first. The 5356 is a Russian-made torpedo that holds the highest amount of damage among all Tier 2 torpedoes, as it has a damage of 20,800. However, like any weapons in the game, it came with a great cost. It has the longest reload time out of all Tier 2 torpedoes in the game, and it has the slowest speed. Here's a clip showing the amount of time for 5356 to reach its target, that is 6 kilometers away. Because of its high reload time and slow speed, the torpedo can't always be great on long range, and in some situations, it can turn to a disadvantage. So if you're gonna use this torpedo, it is much better to use it at mid-range. Next is the Mark 50. The Mark 50 is an American-made torpedo that has a damage of 15,600, which is significantly less than 5356. However, this torpedo has a better reload time, as it has reload time of 8.4 seconds, and it has a much better speed. Here's a clip showing the amount of time for Mark 50 to reach its target, that is 6 kilometers away. Unlike the 5356, this torpedo works great in long range because it has the sufficient speed and reload time. The only disadvantage of this torpedo is its damage, but since it has the speed and reload time, you can spam your torpedoes on your targets to get a lot more damage out from it. Both of these torpedoes will work great on submarines and surface ships that has a torpedo. If you like to play safe and you want to fight your opponents in long distances, this type of torpedoes are the torpedoes you're looking for. These torpedoes are the huge weakness of ships that is equipped with short-range torpedoes that are very powerful. By maintaining a distance that's far from the range of a short-range torpedo, they won't be able to inflict damage, and they'll be rendered useless, and that's the biggest advantage of the long-range torpedoes. So for the long-range torpedoes, there is no best torpedo among them because both torpedoes share the same weakness. Mark 50 has a big difficulty in inflicting more damage due to having a low amount of damage, while the 5356 has an impressive amount of damage, but it still has difficulty in inflicting more damage as its rubbish reload time and speed gives your opponent enough time to hide, dodge, and destroy the torpedo. In the short-range torpedo, these are the torpedoes in the category. I'll start again with the Russian torpedo first. Shkval is another Russian-made torpedo that has a damage of 10,400. Just like the 5356, it also holds the highest amount of damage in the category, but unlike that torpedo, this torpedo still has more advantages up on its sleeve. Short-ranged torpedoes are currently typically known for having a round of burst of more than one torpedo in order to compensate their lack of range. They deal a lot of damage through their round of burst, and they're incredibly effective in close combat. For this particular torpedo, it has a round of burst of 2, which means we can launch 2 torpedoes with it, and now because of this, the damage it could inflict reaches up to 20,800, which is exactly the same as the maximum damage of 5356. In addition to that, the torpedo has the shortest reload time and it has a decent speed. Here's a clip showing the amount of time for Shkval to travel to its maximum range. This torpedo is very close to perfection, but if you guys noticed, there's one huge disadvantage on this torpedo, and that's its range. The range is the shortest range among all Tier 2 torpedoes. So for the surface ships, I highly suggest to only use this torpedo on close combat ships such as JS Karama, IT Kaio Duilio, and RF Admiral Pantalive. They're the type of ships in the game that usually fights at that range. For submarines, they all work fine with it, but it'll be difficult to use because you'll always be spotted whenever you attack someone with it because of its short range. Next is another American torpedo. Whose is an American-made torpedo that has an amount of damage of 7,800. It is significantly less than what the other torpedoes offer for damage, but if its round of burst of 3 is included, the total damage it could inflict reaches up to 23,000, which makes this torpedo much deadlier than Shkval and the rest of the Tier 2 torpedoes. On top of that, it has a much better range and speed than Shkval, but in terms of reload time, Shkval has the greater value, but their difference is not very significant. Here's a clip showing the amount of time for Whose to travel to its maximum range. Here's another clip showing the amount of time for Whose to travel Shkval's maximum range. The only problem with this torpedo is its durability because it is very weak. If your opponent has a grenade launcher, they can easily wipe out this torpedo. So if you're against someone with a grenade launcher, you have to find a way for your opponent to lose their focus on your torpedoes. This torpedo also works very well to all submarines, and it works fine with all of the surface ships that has torpedoes, but not as much as those ships good in close combat. So for the short-range torpedoes, the best torpedo is definitely Whose. It has the damage, range, speed, and round of burst we needed for an effective close-ranged combat. It may not have the reload time of Shkval, but what it offers is very decent and it is more than enough to be effective in battle. Lastly, as for the best type of torpedo, it depends on your playstyle. The reason is similar to the case of Mark 50 and 5356. Both torpedoes have features that made them really great and very advantageous, but they came also with features that are very disadvantageous. If you're an aggressive type of player, and you like to fight your opponents head-on, the best torpedo for you would be the short-range torpedoes. But if you like to play safe and you like to fight your opponents at a long distance, the best torpedo for you would be the long-range torpedoes. So hone your skills of your play styles as much as you can, because the weapon heavily depends on it. That's all for my best torpedo in modern warships. Hopefully you guys liked it and find it useful. If you all did, please leave a like and subscribe to support me. Thank you so much for watching.